The Ash, Lutzi and Susie Snackbox.
World Expo 88. Together we'll change the world. Show the world.
Show the world.
It's my shirt.
Oh, right.
Is that brand new? I mean,
Well, I think it's genuine. I'm wearing a T-shirt, World Expo 88. I think it's genuine retro, like it's old school. Chris Jones got it for me,
it's good quality.
presented it to me, and we're on stage at the South East Queensland Council of Mayors
Oh, really? It's awesome.
because he knows how much impact it had on me.
I love.
Pretty
Everyone
cool,
loves.
eh?
It's
That is very-
awesome.
Now, the platypus that is obviously
It was, isn't it?
an emblem. Can you remember his name, Suze?
I can't remember the mascot.
It was Ollie? Well, that was the one in Sydney.
It says Expo Oz. Maybe
Expo Oz.
maybe the name was Expo Oz.
Oh.
I actually couldn't remember the platypus till I saw him. He's in like a safari suit. You know, he's
yeah.
wearing a safari suit.
And it's got the sails and everything in the Brisbane River.
Expo 88 was the best.
It was the best.
I mean,
Try and explain it. Try and explain it to Buzz.
To someone who doesn't know what it is.
You don't know what it is?
Well, I wasn't alive,
Where
nor
do you
was I living in
start?
Brisbane.
Yeah, I
Start.
mean, but I went to like Dubai a couple of years ago for World Expo, and we all should go to Osaka next year because
Yes, I remember you saying that.
I ran into the guy that ran
Let's take the show.
Dubai the other day at that
Sure.
mayoral thing I went to, and he said, Australia's doing some great stuff at the Osaka World Expo, so we could hook up with the Australian Pavilion. Every country in the world has this big pavilion where you walk in, you line up and you walk in, and that showcases all the brilliant stuff that they're doing.
What would ours be?
Ours was a lot of about our nature. We had a walk
Outback.
at the
Great
Outback.
Barrier
Right,
Reef.
okay.
The
Yeah.
Queensland Pavilion at World Expo, because we had one as well, because there was a host city, state, whatever. You got in this, like, you went inside, and it was like one of those boats that goes along a little fake river.
oh, I did too.
And you're all sitting there, and there's like, "G'day and welcome to Queensland." And then a crocodile would come out and go, "Rah!"
But
it was really cool.
It changed Queensland because
Yeah.
South
Oh,
Bank
yeah.
used to be industrial, and it was all sand pumping businesses and all that sort of stuff. So
It was a dangerous
It was
area.
they built it there. It's dangerous.
Yeah, totally revamped it and made it. It
And
was
that
the
is-
first time that they started to showcase it and go, hang on, we can make something out of this.
Well, that's the impact that 2032 could have on the future generations if we do it right.
Like,
That's
a
it.
1,000 times bigger than that,
Yep.
maybe. even.
Totally.
It was it 6 months it was
6
on for?
months.
It was
6
a
months.
celebration for 6 months.
Yep.
It was like,
It was a party.
I've got to get to Expo. Oh, have you been to such and such country yet?
The New Zealand Pavilion, that was really good.
Who had the snow?
Oh, Switzerland.
Switzerland.
And,
yeah.
Ski
there was a
field.
fun park, and so I was in grade 10. So the thing when you do in grade 10 is every Saturday night you go and hang out in the fun park.
The Titan was the
Yeah.
double loop
So
roller
there's always
coaster.
a different part that people
Look how
hang out
happy
in.
it makes you guys.
It makes
No.
everyone happy.
Yeah,
It does.
it did actually. That was a good time.
The Ash, Lutzi and Susie Snackbox.
Brouhaha time.
said burn! It's cold in here. I said there must be some content in the atmosphere. Here we go.
I like what you did there, Nick. He's not going to say anything, and he just walked in right when the music started.
Swagger.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did, except I kind of forgot that this was about to happen. So
is that why?
I didn't know I was
Right.
actually waiting for the intro to work it out.
All right, 5 seconds. Starts now.
Local government making number two's number one priority in the workplace.
Okay, look, that's aroused my interest.
Yeah, it's got Lutzi. I know this story.
Do you? Where do you guys get them from?
Just watching the news. It's Sharon Godella from Channel 10. All right, Lockie.
YouTuber fills the world with dramatic secret transformation.
I actually missed the second word.
Dramatic. Did you say secret transformation?
You what?
He faded out on his language there, didn't he?
You know what he was trying to do? He was trying to do eye contact. I think he turned away from the microphone.
Yeah, I heard,
Poor mic technique.
I heard new someone. I
Yes.
didn't do that bit. But you can't, I don't think you can. No, I
You
gotta
get
go. I
5
gotta
seconds.
go. I gotta go with Nick.
I'm going to go Lockie.
I'm going to go Nick as Nick.
Yeah.
I was going to say Nick as
Is
well. I
that
thought you
3
were going
from
to say
3?
Nick.
4 from 4. God, good
I'm
job, Nick.
curious about the number 2 thing.
He's good at selling it, Nick, isn't he?
Queensland Health have been lauded by the public by telling people in a social media post it's okay to poo at work to raise awareness of the dangers of holding it in.
Yeah, well, it's something that worries me with Ashley.
They are. It's okay, Ash, you can
He
relax.
holds it in too much because he doesn't like doing it at certain places.
Yeah.
You're a prime candidate for this.
Go
Just
on.
do it work, mate.
Yeah, the Queensland Health, they've got really good form in this department, using their social media to, really undercut the seriousness of the message and make it fun. So by putting this up on their socials, this rainbow unicorn covered
yes.
video with a bit of a nice little Florence and the Sheen underneath it, dolphins and rainbows everywhere.
Because they've borrowed from that old campaign from Squatty Potty.
Yes.
where they use a unicorn to poo rainbow soft serve, essentially, using the right position.
Squatty potty was a thing for a
I
while,
found it.
wasn't
I
it?
found it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember those?
I found,
I
I found it in my storage unit the other
Oh,
day,
you
so
got
I've
one,
got it
didn't
back
you?
in use.
I used to work with someone who'd bring it to
Yeah,
work.
Oh,
that's my
yes.
God.
Who?
That's
Who?
too far.
You'd see it. You'd see it.
Name names in the
He
podcast.
was a real
I'll tell-
gun.
Yeah, good one. Yeah.
He was a real guy.
Gee, that was good, Lutzy.
I still don't know, and they're obviously giving.
Yeah. But look, there, like, you know, a lot like
Can
the
I
government-
say something?
Yes, please.
I don't care.
Don't hold it in.
If you go, if you poo at work, whatever. But there should be a ban on doing it in that toilet at work that is immediately
door.
on the left-hand
Yeah.
side.
That's Nick's
as you
cubicle.
walk in.
No, that's
That-
that's my emergency cubicle there. I refer to that one as the Hague because it's for walk-ons only.
Yeah, you got to go furthest away.
Oh, Suze,
Oh, the one around the
Suze,
corner.
There's 3 toilets in
Yeah.
the men's area, and one toilet is like
Hard right.
You have to go.
Okay. There's
a
you
weirdly
have to
long
walk
corridor.
past
Long,
it to get to the
yeah.
urinal,
Same.
and people override the 2 that wouldn't bring anybody else into the equation, and they go right there. And then you've got to go past it on the way back out.
That's ridiculous. Who would do that?
He does.
Nick.
No,
Oh.
no.
You've gotta
When
pretty
my
much
normal
touch-
one's taken.
Yeah, you got to be able to touch the door to get out.
Oh, absolutely.
You're right there.
Oh, that one. Yeah, we've got
And
one of
there's,
those.
and there's
No.
enough gap in the door where you
Yeah.
get a glimpse of someone in
But
there.
also, when you open the
Yeah,
door,
I know,
you do.
when you open the door, it
Wafts.
drags
Yes.
the air
Yeah, so you
from.
actually get a suction
Yeah.
straight out of someone's butthole.
I'll try and push the serious health message here.
Yeah,
So
please
what
do.
are they saying?
So what they're saying is no condition.
that big of a problem?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
it
no, it
work?
is because what they're saying is the gut and anxiety can be easily linked. So people who choose not to go are actually affecting their health because they're a bit worried about noises and sounds and smells and stuff. So they're just trying to make a bit more for conditions like hemorrhoids or this one called parcopresis, which is a social anxiety disorder. So what they're suggesting is like exactly right. So we're spreading a message here, buddy. So what we're trying. So they're saying tips for stress-free public number 2s include remembering that everyone poops, and this is what they say: visualize someone famous on the toilet, like Taylor Swift.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's like that thing. Don't think of an elephant. Don't think of Taylor Swift pooping.
Yeah, I'm
So you can't, you think,
Are people actually worried about pooing in their work toilets?
is that big of a health concern?
They reckon
On a
two and
coffee
two and
table?
five.
Spend your money on better things.
2 and 5
Queensland
people.
Health. That's what I say. Really? Spend it on sick people, not
God
people who
sake.
can't be bothered
God
pooing.
They're
sake.
making more people sick.
The Ash, Lutzy and Susie Snackbox.
Just on that song you just played, Buzz, I had
Yes.
some help. That got nominated overnight for Single of the Year at the Country Music
Ah.
Oh,
Awards.
okay. Well, that's interesting because I was trying to work out whether Post Malone's new album would have come out too late for those awards.
Well, yeah, that's interesting because Post Malone didn't get named as one of the vocalists of the year. He didn't get a nomination there. In fact, I think Single of the Year is his only nomination. But whether that encompasses the whole of that album, which is excellent, that he's just brought out.
Is this a worldwide competition, this country music award?
I think
Is it
Is it the
American?
American?
I think it's the American
right.
ones. But Morgan Wallen is the hot ticket at the moment.
Okay.
And that's who he does that song with, that I had some help there. But he's been nominated for Entertainer of the Year. I think that's his like 3rd straight year in a row that he's been up for the top prize.
Any Taylor Swift or
I don't know that
Beyonce?
Yeah, give sort of a
Probably
list.
country.
No, Beyonce's
No,
been
but
snubbed.
Beyonce didn't get one.
Beyonce got absolutely snubbed. And then the female vocalist of the year, no, Taylor Swift. I don't know if they call her country anymore.
Not anymore. I think she's
Okay.
pop.
Okay.
This Morgan Wallen and Post Malone song was released on May 10, so maybe the cutoff was mid-year, June or something.
And
which was
maybe
before.
the album will be next year.
Yeah, because that did drop first.
Yeah.
Because I thought, why would like if you break it down, there's no real difference between what Post Malone's done and what Beyonce's done, because they're just both normal artists who have just out of the blue done a country album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at first I thought, maybe it's because Post Malone collaborated and did duets with everyone, like everyone from Dolly Parton to
Chris
Blake
Stapleton,
Shelton, everyone.
Morgan Wallen.
I'm just looking at Cowboy Carter. So did Beyonce.
Yeah,
She did Miley Cyrus. Post Malone, she did Levi Jeans with.
and Dolly Parton?
And really?
Did Beyonce do one with Dolly as
Well,
well?
She did too,
Jolene.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tyrant.
Tyrant, but she also sang Jolene.
Yeah, right.
I thought she was in that. Oh.
The eligibility period ends on June 30 each year. So Post Malone's album was out in August.
Yep.
And the single, which he was nominated
Was in
for,
May.
was in May.
Like you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's weird though is that I reckon if you go back even 10 years ago and you went through the nominations for Entertainer of the Year for country, I bet you there be some people that you haven't heard of. But
No wonder.
they're so much more mainstream. Like this year, here's the nominees for Entertainer of the Year: Luke Combs, heard of him. Chris Stapleton,
Yeah.
everyone's heard of him. Morgan Wallen, Jelly Roll.
Yep.
I haven't heard of Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll's big guy. But he's burst onto the scene.
He looks a bit like Teddy Swims.
Teddy Swims.
Yes,
Oh,
he
okay.
does.
Quite similar.
And then Lainey Wilson, and
Right.
she does a single with Post Malone on that.
Oh, really?
album as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at the names from 1990 for the CMAs,
Yeah,
Country
go on.
Music Awards, right?
Yeah.
Ricky Van Shelton, Clint Black, Randy Travis I'd heard of, but he was Country 5000.
Randy Travis.
He's still got straw in his mouth.
He's either gonna,
Alan Jackson.
He's either going to be a bull rider or a
Yeah.
country singer.
Alan Jackson,
Alan Jackson.
was Andrew Simon's old favourite
Yeah.
country artist.
Never heard of him.
Garth Brooks got a run, but then you got the Kentucky Headhunters, Travis Tritt, Laurie Morgan. A bunch of names you've never heard of, really. You've heard of all of them now.
Yeah,
It's bizarre how it's changed. isn't
Laurie
it?
Morgan.
that's
I've
30
never
years.
heard of him.
What about Travis Tritt?
You could tell me he's on the
TT.
wing for Parramatta, and I would have accepted it.
The Ash Lutzi and Susie Snackbox.
Last night was a classic example of why sometimes I really don't want to be married. Or I definitely don't want to share a bed with Cliff. I mean, we always... we're talking about
Snoring? Is this snoring?
No, it wasn't actually
Oh.
snoring related. So it's about going to sleep. So I'm a really light sleeper and I find it really difficult to go to sleep quite often. So for me, the ideal thing about going up to go to sleep would be to go up bed quietly, no one talking, some nice music on in the background, and just like the lights dimmed, have a shower. This sort of feeling. This is me when I like to walk up to my bedroom because I find it hard to fall asleep. I have a lot of thoughts in my head and I just like to calm down and just read a little bit of my book and then fall asleep. Contrasting with Cliff. This is Cliff going to bed.
We put together a montage of his noises. So just letting it all out before he gets in.
What's that? Oh.
It was a jackhammer. It was a joke.
jackhammer,
It was a
that's
joke.
So it's just noisy.
He's so noisy going to bed. He literally goes up there because we both have a shower.
And then this is Suze.
Yeah.
And Cliff. And Suze.
Do you guys have that? It's like two people marry each other who are always the complete opposite in everything.
Oh,
I just want to say this is a what do you call it? This isn't actually
a recreation.
It's a recreation.
This
Oh,
is
yes,
a
yes, yes, yes.
recreation.
That's not actually
That's
Cliff.
not actually.
Oh, well, I thought
We didn't
this was.
secretly record Cliff.
I thought that you'd recorded it on your phone.
No. It's an example of what.
Oh, right.
It's paraphrasing of what he's like.
I was going to
So as we go up to, we race to
So
the-
it's more like the getting into bed, or is he in when he gets into bed? It's more of that.
No, as soon as he gets into bed, it's this. No, as soon as he gets into bed, generally,
That.
like, turn everything off. Night, Suze. Like he's asleep. He literally hops into bed. Like I'm like,
So does that annoy you?
yes, that is doubly annoys me.
Oh, okay.
But
That's
we-
fine.
Snoring I get too.
But we literally we race up to we race to the shower. You've heard this before because the second person who has the shower has to squeegee it. So you've got to get in first, so you don't have to do the squeegeeing to give it clean. But I like to not talk. But he's like whistling and then yelling, going, "Hey snoozer, how you going?" He might have done one little fluff last night too, and big burps. You got the burp one?
Oh, it's all in the one thing.
It's all the one thing.
There it is.
I think people get the message of what's happening. So it's not movement in bed; it's just noises.
This is before he gets into bed. Like
Yeah.
I finally remember that my big bugbear was he would get on his phone then. Remember and watch
Fisher.
Fisher and Instagram on Fisher, and that would be really noisy.
Yeah.
So
I
head plugs would be not, iPods. What do they call?
AirPods. No, but he's stopped doing that in bed. So when he gets in bed now, he used to do that. We have finally trained him. I have. It took 2 years for him to not turn on music in bed with Instagram.
Yeah.
Now just the point of getting to the bed is like
So what do you think? You think it's single, different beds, same room? No,
No, well, that wouldn't fix it.
I think-
Initially, I was like that European model where you have the beds together, but they're different doonas, different mattresses
Yeah,
almost.
that's not the problem.
But that's not the problem.
No, he just needs to be more
Silent.
silent.
Invisible.
He needs to be invisible when he comes to bed.
I
he
think
needs
it's
to.
earplugs is your
But also,
only
as
answer.
he's louder and more excited, that's the thing. I'm starting to go, you dirty dog. You're going to hop into bed now and you're going to fall asleep in 1 second. Doesn't he not
Yeah.
realise how difficult it is for me to fall asleep? And I want calm. I want, I have the lights dimmed in the bathroom. He comes and turns them on, like the brightest lights you can as
Yeah.
well.
But you married him because he's a dirty dog. It's a cliff dog.
Yeah.
That's what drew you to him.
Yeah.
Well, the things that draw you to your partner at the beginning, I realise now, the things that deter you.
The Ash, Lutzi and Susie Snackbox.
News overnight that Anthony Albanese, our PM, has declared a nationwide age-based ban on social media accounts. So this includes Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook.
Twitter, presumably.
How is it going to affect our kids? At what age does it kick in? And then how is it going to be policed? There's plenty of questions. And Isabel Mullen, who is the political reporter for Channel 7 and is in the nation's capital at the moment, has been covering it also. Good morning, Isabel. I don't know if it's possible, but can you sum up to our listeners exactly what this new plan of attack is?
Yeah, good morning, guys. There's a little bit in it and plenty of detail that the Prime Minister hasn't uncovered yet, but he was up here in Canberra this morning on the breakfast shows having a chat about it. And what he's revealed is that the trial is already underway and they're looking at like facial recognition as a way to regulate this. Some social media companies already use facial recognition, but it's never been enforced. We know like TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, they have age limits of about 13 at the moment. But there's so many ways that kids can get online and get around it. So this would be more of a blanket nationwide ban. There would be heavy fines for social media companies that don't comply. Of course, they'd have to, be open to this, and that will be one of the biggest obstacles for the government moving forward. So they haven't introduced this legislation yet. They've set a deadline of the end of the year, so before the next election, and there's only about 6 sitting weeks left. So this will happen soon. We will have the finer detail of that legislation. But really it's about reducing exposure to negative things online, things like deepfake pornography and also exposure to online bullying. So it is a good move. It's something the Coalition proposed earlier this year in June. Peter Dutton was out calling for a social media ban. So the government's jumped on board. And hopefully, it's something that will have bipartisan support.
There's been a big correlation, hasn't there, between mental health problems and social media, and I reckon it's kind of snuck up on us. I think my generation is the last generation to have remembered a time without social media. So it has been crazy. Do you think the government's done something soon enough for all the social media access that young kids have had?
Oh, look, probably not. I know the Prime Minister said himself he's got a son, and 10 years ago this was a problem. It was a problem when I was growing up. So ever since the birth of social media, these addictions have started and kids have been exposed to all sorts of things. But he said himself that, the sooner we do something, the better. It is something that has the Coalition support. They did say they would like that age limit to be a little bit higher, 16, so they'd only back this legislation if that age limit is lifted. So those discussions, will play out in the coming weeks, but at least they're talking about doing something.
Isabel, is there any precedence for this? Are we pioneers in trying to introduce this type of regulation into social media usage for our youths? And if so, if other countries are doing it, who are they and how has it been received?
I'm not aware of other countries that have been able to pull this off. I think there are, and I could be a little bit ignorant there, but I know that this has been discussed around the world. It came off the back of a 276-page report by former High Court Chief Robert French that was released on the weekend. So that outlined what the legislation could look like. It has had support by the states, particularly South Australia. Peter Malinauskas, the Premier down there, he led a discussion on National Cabinet on Friday about this. So it's something that a lot of people in positions of power are talking about they really do want to see these changes. And if it has been pulled off by other countries, that's certainly what they'll be looking at as a blueprint for how they could do it here.
I think it's a win if they can do it. I mean, because it's not like, when you say like, just a total banning of devices, it's not like that where you'd be almost compromising a kid's ability to be able to engage and get employment, because that's the way it's going. But if it's just social media, if you can just somehow encapsulate that and take that out of their minds. And I guess the tech's getting good enough where they can probably do it. I mean,
and how do they police it? And say if it's 14 years of age, and I'm just playing, just a hypothetical. I've got a 13-year-old kid who decides to bypass the system for whatever reason.
Well, the moment your dog can do it, right?
Gets himself a fake, or gets himself a social media account, and then he's found out who's punished. The 13-year-old kid.
Exactly.
The Facebook account. Is it Facebook that does it? Is it me as a parent? Like who?
They're the questions.
Who's responsible for it?
Yeah, well, that's something that they're all talking about at the moment.
Poor Isabel doesn't know. We can't expect you to know this, by the way.
I think the Prime Minister says, look, he's using words like heavy fines, big penalties for social media companies, and these guys are some of the wealthiest people in the world. They could easily not comply, and then what would the repercussions be? It would be, okay, social media is banned in Australia. What does that look like? Is that actually possible? Probably not. So these are things that they need to iron out. They do need social media companies to be open to this, so they really need to bring them to the table and have discussions and convince them that it's, in their interest as well.
At the very least, it's another warning to parents saying, do what you can. I know it's difficult as a parent to try and limit your child's access to social media, which as a parent is almost impossible. I remember because you take your phones off them. I didn't realise I could get onto that's how dumb I was. On the laptops, they can get onto all their social media as well, which they need for school in inverted commas, all the time. So it's such a difficult war, isn't it?
Anyway. It's also going to be trying to change a culture too. Like I look at Archie, my youngest. He's 12. Well, he's got Snapchat. And you sit there and he'll be showing you something on his phone. He'll have 5 of his mates that'll be Snapchatting him stuff about whatever is going on.
Yeah,
and I probably don't know the whole of it, but there is a part to that is just a form of communication for him.
And role modelling as parents, like how much are we in front of the kids on our social media while they're watching us as well? So a good message for all of us to be wary of the dangers of social media.
Thanks, Isabel.
Thanks very much.
The Ash, Lutzi and Susie Snackbox.